Discover the incredible secret behind the sacred lifespans of biblical people, a divine plan revealed. In the 3rd year of Jehoiakim, the world sank deeper into chaos, as wickedness overflowed like a torrent. In ancient Mesopotamia, the sun shone on a land once rich with the promise of the Creator. Among this rising tide of moral decay stood a lone figure, Noah, a righteous man blameless in his generation. He was the great-grandson of Methuselah, whose lengthy years whispered of God's enduring patience, a stark contrast to the rebellion that engulfed the earth. In the shadows of looming mountains, Noah molded wood with the same reverence his forefathers had shown towards their Creator. His chisel struck the timber not merely as a craftsman, but as a vessel of divine purpose. Each swing of the mallet resonated with a weighty command, a directive from heaven to build a colossal ark of salvation. The hearts of men around him pulsed to a different beat, their laughter ringing in stark contrast to the somber truth Noah held dear. "Why toil for what is not seen?" they would jeer, their mockery cutting sharper than any tool. Yet, amidst taunts, Noah felt the stirring of the Spirit as ancient truths chained to his heritage ignited his heart. He recalled the stories of Adam, Seth, and Enosh, men who stood faithful amid tribulation. They had embraced the covenant promises that extended beyond the horizon of current desolation, a world reborn, an everlasting hope. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next. As clouds conspired in the skies, Noah paused and beheld the desolate valley before him, a stark mirror reflecting humanity's depravity. The pernicious laughter echoed around him, yet from within came the silent assurance, relentless as the very wood he labored to shape. Each plank he laid was not only for himself. This ark was a tangible testament of faith amidst unrelenting doubt, a beacon for a remnant to be saved. The wickedness would not go unaddressed. God's wrath loomed, yet so too did his mercy. As he hammered, each strike became an act of intercession, prayers whispered through the rhythm of labor. What would become of the hearts unwilling to believe? The tension thickened with the oppressive clouds above. Would they remain deaf to the clarion call of warning? The first drops of rain began to fall, echoing a divine heartbeat pulsating against the earth, juxtaposing the growing crescendo of disbelief. In that moment, Noah's conviction solidified into unyielding faith. As the heavens opened, the promise that danced at the edge of each covenant surged forth, intertwining with the bittersweet lament of divine judgment. Would the world see through the veil of its own making? In those moments of brewing turmoil, Noah stood resolute, of hope against the deluge of despair. Would he fulfill the plan whispered in the quietude of his spirit? As the ground trembled beneath him, the ark's frame surged as a testament that faith, when driven by divine purpose, builds not merely for survival but for the rebirth of life itself. As the clouds continued to gather ominously, the world around Noah transformed. The air thickened with tension, and the laughter of the wicked fell silent, replaced by a grave expectation. The inhabitants of the land, drunk on their unrighteousness, could not perceive the unfolding divine drama that echoed through the heavens. Yet, amid this impending judgment, Noah remained steadfast, his mind anchored in the promises of God. Days turned into weeks as the construction of the ark progressed. Its massive frame began to take shape, each beam a testimony of faith carved directly from the heart of one who believed. The sweat ran down Noah's brow as he worked tirelessly. With every plank he laid, he envisioned the future salvation that was to follow. He whispered prayers into the wood, entrusting each piece to the Almighty who had commanded him. As the first day of the second month approached, the persistent rains fell like tears from the heavens, as if creation itself mourned over the hearts that turned away from the Creator. The land soaked in the promises that were to come, yet the people remained oblivious, absorbed in their evil ways. They mocked Noah, now more furious with the unyielding truth he represented. "What madness drives you to labor for that which will never come to fruition?" they screamed, unaware that a truth far greater unfolded beyond their earthly gaze. Noah, however, was not concerned merely with their derision. He clasped tightly to God's vision, believing the day of reckoning was at hand. In that belief, a sense of urgency ignited in his work. The animals, 2 by 2, began to approach the ark, a sight that astonished Noah even amidst his steadfast faith. Each creature slipped into the sanctuary of the vessel that symbolized hope amidst wrath. With wide eyes he observed God's hand orchestrating the gathering, a marvelous decree of preservation. At last, when the last beast entered, a great stillness fell over the land. Noah turned his gaze heavenward, where the skies roared with turbulence as thunder cracked above, a divine message vibrating through the atmosphere. He sensed the pulse of God's heart, a skillful weaving of judgment and mercy intertwined. The ark stood ready, a refuge for those who heard the call, yet the world outside danced in ignorance. With a heavy heart, Noah placed his hand on the door of the ark, feeling its sturdy frame trembling beneath his touch. He stood poised, the weight of generations upon his shoulders, and as if moved by a celestial wind, he uttered a prayer for the souls lost to darkness. Lord, let not their hearts remain hardened. Grant them sight, that they may heed your warning before the floodgates are unleashed. Then, at the appointed time, God spoke. The voice boomed distinctly through the rising storm. Enter the ark, my faithful servant, for the end of this age draws near. Fear mingled with exhilaration filled Noah as he gathered his family. Each footstep echoed as they followed the leading of the Lord, crossing the threshold into salvation. Suddenly, the heavens ripped open, and rain poured forth like never before, flooding the earth as the waters surged from beneath. It was then Noah understood God's righteous plans unfurled beyond comprehension, promising both judgment and mercy. As the waters rose and the mockers faded from view, Noah beheld the vastness of God's sovereign hand at work. But amid the storm, a haunting realization echoed in Noah's spirit: if this was but the beginning, what more awaited those who believe in the promises of God? As the rains poured down heavily, fear swirled through the heart of creation, holding tightly to the question that stomped like thunder in his chest: what will become of the world once it is washed clean? With the heavens unrelenting in their downpour, a torrent engulfed the land, and the roar of the waters resonated through every crevice of creation. The ark, a vessel of salvation, rocked upon the swelling waves as the frenzy of the flood began its merciless pursuit of the earth's inhabitants. Within its sturdy walls, Noah and his family huddled together, their hearts a mixture of dread and hope. The darkness that had settled over the world was palpable, pressing against them as they listened to the storm's fury outside. Noah! His wife called, her voice trembling yet steadfast. Do you believe that they will remember the God who once walked with them? Will they come to know him in this hour of reckoning? Noah swallowed hard, his heart heavy with the burden of their neighbors' souls. Let us pray for them. Let us cry out for mercy even as the waters surge, he replied, kneeling down with his family, their voices mingling in heartfelt supplication. O Lord, let your mercy flow as this flood pours forth. Remember those who do not know your name, soften their hearts that they may turn to you before it is too late. The storm raged on, darkness swirling around the ark like a living creature clamoring for its prey. The glimmers of hope within Noah's heart sparked with anticipation, knowing that even in judgment, God's providential plan could yet weave redemption. Yet doubt gnawed at the edges of their sanctuary, and the murmurs of fear whispered within. Each crash of thunder echoed the fate of those outside, a reminder of the chilling consequence of forsaking the Most High. As the floodwaters ascended, engulfing the mountains and drowning the cries of the once mighty, Noah's spirit felt the sadness of creation itself. The earth was laid bare before the judgment of God, and he reflected upon those who had chosen evil over righteousness. He grasped the weight of his purpose, standing as a herald of divine truth. O Lord, he uttered softly, you are just in all your ways, yet in your mercy, remember your creation, for they are but dust. And in that quiet moment of contemplation, the Lord spoke again amidst the roaring chaos. Noah, I have set a covenant with you, a promise that transcends this world of destruction. When the waters recede, you shall be a new beginning, a remnant through whom my grace shall flow. For I shall create anew upon this earth. Noah's heart swelled with praise, for the voice of God held a promise not only for him but for generations yet to come. Days turned into weeks, and the flood persisted, testing their faith and endurance within the confines of the ark. The days of rain were relentless, but in the confines of this floating sanctuary, Noah's faith was fortified. He shared stories with his family, recounting the history of mankind, the fall, the promise given to Adam and Eve, and the covenant made with Abraham that stretched across time and generations. Each story revived hope within them, a reminder of the faithfulness of their God. Then, on a day devoid of the sun's warmth, when the skies began to show signs of change and the waters started to still, a voice within the hearts of Noah's family ignited curiosity. "What lies ahead for us, Father? What will be our legacy once the flood ceases?" one of his sons inquired. Noah, filled with divine assurance, gazed towards the window of the ark where the waters gradually began to recede. "A new creation awaits, my son, a world redeemed that bears witness to God's glory. Yet our journey does not end here, it is merely the beginning. For out of the flood, he will establish the earth anew, and through our lineage, all nations will know of his covenant." As the last drops of rain fell, the horizon brightened ever so slightly, casting a promise of hope on the remnant that had weathered the divine storm. Noah held close to the words of the Lord, praying for all who would soon walk upon the cleansed earth. But a heavier burden settled upon him. There lay a greater calling ahead, a mission to restore and repopulate a world longing for redemption. Amid the turmoil, the great mystery lingered in the air. If this flood was but the harbinger of new beginnings, what majestic purposes awaited those who would emerge from this trial unscathed? What ancient promises would unfold in the generations to come? And most powerfully, what remained hidden in the tapestry of God's sovereign design yet to be unveiled? As the days continued to unroll beneath the weight of the unyielding heavens, the ark drifted upon the vast expanse, its only companion the unforgiving storm that had turned creation upside down. Time wore on, yet Noah and his family found solace in their steadfast prayer and communal encouragement. The barometer of their spirits ebbed and flowed with the rhythm of the rain, but deep within them was a longing for the promise that lay beyond the deluge. Then one morning, a stillness came as if the heavens themselves paused to take a breath. Noah, rising early, peered through the small window of the ark into the dim light. The waters had sunk lower than he had witnessed in weeks, revealing new contours of earth, once lost beneath torrents. With a heart half hopeful and half fearful, he gathered his family. "Let us go forth and explore what lies beyond our sanctuary," he declared, sensing the stirring of something divine in this moment. His family, eyes wide and spirits lifted, began to prepare for the first venture outside since the flood began. "Father, will the land welcome us?" his son Shem asked, gazing at the horizon obscured by mist. "God has promised us a new beginning," Noah replied, steadying his son's doubts with a voice anchored in faith. "What was once cursed can bear fruit again through his mercy." Equipped with courage and a heart full of faith, Noah opened the great door of the ark. For the first time, the light of the day enveloped them, and a hush fell over everything as they stepped into a transformed world. The landscape, though battered, groaned with the echo of renewal. But as they stepped onto the surging earth, a tremor ran through Noah's heart. For he knew, even with the dawning of new beginnings, the weight of their past still lingered like shadow over the sun. As it is written, "For we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now." Romans 8 verse 22. As the family ventured forth, their senses drank in the sights, the scents of earth, and the crisp air. With each step, Noah recalled the sacred words of the Lord, not merely spoken to him, but woven into the very fabric of his being. "You and your sons, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth." Genesis 9 verse 1. He remembered with a reverence deeper than before, but a shadow crept into his spirit. Deep within, he felt the apprehension of what future awaited this remnant before the Almighty. Would they remember him? He whispered to himself, the weight of history pressing against their fragile new beginning. At that moment, a raven flew past, breaking the silence, a guardian of foreboding and longing. Noah's eyes followed its flight until it vanished into the clouds once more. He called on the Lord within his heart, lifting prayers not only for his family but for the fate of all humankind, a desperate plea echoing against the reborn earth. Days turned into weeks, and the ark became their home not just of salvation but of dreams unspooled and timelines yet realized. As their faith flourished, so did the earth around them. Grain and fruit began to emerge timidly through the remnants of rain. Hope ignited in the hearts of his sons, and they toiled, each arrow of labor sending tremors of the promise into the soil. Yet Noah remained weighty with unasked questions how they would realign the humanity that had once fallen so deeply from grace. "O Lord, what shall become of us?" he prayed one silent night, as the stars peeked through the scattered clouds, stars that once shined bright over Eden. "In this rebirth, what purpose under heaven do you delight to reveal?" In response, the stillness of the night seemed to resonate with a whispered assurance deep within, compelling Noah to reflect upon the vastness of God's plan, a mystery unfurling across generations. Every seed planted in faith held the promise of reaping in fullness. What awaited them was not only restoration but also the very cradle of the covenant, carrying the seeds of hope through the annals of time. And thus, even as the din of creation began anew, with it came the haunting realization that beyond their rebirth lay an even greater gift, one that would alter not only their destinies but also all of humanity. For the Lord had not only washed the world clean in judgment, a greater purpose birthed amid the waters remained to be unveiled, one that would draw all nations unto the promise of salvation that was to come. Would they recognize the unfolding of his love in the days ahead? Would they be the bearers of his covenant unseen yet deeply felt? At this juncture, the weighty question echoed in Noah's heart, awakening the anticipation of uncharted legacy, for now, the promise was not just a vision of hope, it beckoned as a hidden treasure within God's sovereign plan awaiting revelation among the generations yet unborn. In the wake of the flood, as time washed over the earth like a gentle balm, Noah and his family began to chart their course anew among the remnants of the old world. Through the toil of their hands, they cultivated the fertile ground, now eager to yield its bounty. The first fruits of their labor emerged: sweet figs, ripe grapes, and the golden grain that danced in the breeze, promising sustenance. And as the days stretched into weeks, curiosity rekindled in Noah's heart, igniting a desire to seek counsel from the Lord, who had guided him through tempest and trial. "What shall we do, O Lord? Where shall we go from here?" he called out one evening as the sun dipped low, painting the sky with hues of amber and crimson. Noah knelt beneath the broad branches of an olive tree, his mind swirling with uncertainty. His heart yearned not just for direction but for the righteous legacy he and his family were meant to embody. Would they, descendants of the faithful, rise to fulfill the divine intentions surrounding their existence? As the evening deepened, a hush enveloped the land. The soft rustle of leaves whispered secrets of ancient promises. In that sacred silence, a warmth blossomed within Noah, and he was struck by a vivid remembrance: the covenant of the rainbow, painted across the sky in all its glory. "I establish my covenant with you," the Lord had proclaimed. "Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of the flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." Genesis 9 verse 11. Filled with reverence, he looked toward the heavens, where the first soft colors of a rainbow began to unfold, mirroring the promise renewed. In that moment, the weight of his questions lingered not as burdens, but as gateways to understanding, daring him to acknowledge that every covenant bore a heavier purpose. Meanwhile, his sons Shem, Ham, and Japheth, finding joy in shared labor, broke forth in laughter, their hearts lightened by the simple pleasures of life. It was then that Noah, mindful of their bond as brothers and heirs to a renewed world, gathered them around him. "Let us cherish these moments together, for they are the threads of our shared destiny." As they shared bread and the fruits of their labor, a heaviness lingered in Noah's spirit. "What will become of us?" he voiced, a prayer encased in the very marrow of his being. "How will we succeed in keeping this covenant, ensuring that our offspring honor the Lord and remember his great works?" "Father, we shall teach them," Ham replied thoughtfully. "Our children will learn of the covenant, of the mercy we have received. In their hearts, the fear of the Lord shall dwell." The spirit of that moment coursed through them, igniting a shared resolution. They would tell stories that echoed beyond time, recounting God's faithfulness through the ages, to ensure that each generation grasped the depth of His mercy and the richness of His grace. But lurking in the shadows of contentment was an unsettling truth, a question of what lay ahead, an unknown past shrouded in uncertainty. As the seasons began to turn once more, Noah turned his gaze toward the horizon. Would humanity rise to meet the promises offered, or would the sins of the past resurface, staining the new beginnings? Deep within his heart, Noah felt the stirring of a profound mystery, the unveiling of God's plan written throughout the ages, awaiting revelation through their legacy. He sensed that the covenant held seeds not merely for his family, but for all nations, promising a light that would shine brightly amid the darkness. And as the first stars began to puncture the evening sky, illuminating the soft expanse above, a thought took root in his heart. Perhaps their lives were to be marked not solely by survival but by the very act of creation anew, where they would become custodians of divine potential. What awaited them beyond their labor and hope? At the brink of this new dawn, Noah pondered it was not only a covenant of preservation but of promise that would call forth an awakening across lineages yet to come. The weight on his spirit echoed the winds of divine purpose yet unfolding. For in this rebirth, they were not simply inheritors of a clean world, but stewards of a destiny charted by the Almighty, a destiny that would beckon forth a new generation ready to carry the torch of faith into an unknown but glorious future. The covenant was but the beginning, the fullness of God's plan still encircling like the horizon before him, whispering of wonders yet to unfold. As dawn broke upon the horizon, painting the world in shades of promise, Noah stirred awake with a heartbeat of anticipation thrumming within him. The night had been filled with visions, deep and sacred, weaving through his mind like threads in a divine tapestry. He arose and stood upon the deck of the ark, now a monument of faith before the land that flourished below him. "Arise, my sons!" he called to Shem, Ham, and Japheth, who stirred groggily within the confines of their humble abode. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter, a call to rebuild that which once fell. We shall venture into the lands and sow the seeds of our covenant." With hearts alight with purpose, the sons gathered around Noah, the morning sun shining upon their faces, illuminating a promise yet unfulfilled. Noah beckoned them to the edge of his heart as longing. "Let us remember that each seed we plant bears the weight of our lineage. It is not mere fruit we seek, it is the restoration of righteousness and the glory of the Lord's name among the nations." Their hands clasped together, an unspoken oath hung in the air, an agreement bound by love and reverence for the one who had delivered them from the waters of despair. As they set forth into the land, the fragrance of blooming life surrounded them, each flower and blade of grass a testament to God's restoring grace. Days turned into weeks as they ventured through valleys lush and meadows wide, establishing their homes and planting vineyards. The harmony of nature and the hymns of newly awakened creatures filled the air, a reminder of the Creator's artistry. But as Noah and his sons sought to cultivate life, the memories of the judgment still echoed in their ears. Whispers of humanity's frailty flitted through the landscape. One day, as Noah sat beneath the shade of a giant sycamore, pondering the future, the Lord spoke once more, his voice weaving through the wind. "Noah, I have seen your heart, and I have heard your prayers. I have prepared a covenant for you and your sons, a command and a blessing for generations to come." Noah fell to his knees, gripped by the weight of divine revelation. His heart raced, for he understood this new covenant would not be solely for his family. It would extend through the ages, a call to righteousness that would echo beyond his lifetime. "O Lord, reveal to me your plan, that we may walk honorably before you. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth," the Lord continued, "and govern over every living thing. Yet do not forget, as time unfolds, the hearts of men will lure them into shadows. Teach your children diligently the way of the Lord, for the promise is eternal. It shall guide them through glory and trial, for I shall never leave them nor forsake them." With that promise engraved upon his soul, Noah rose, emboldened with renewed purpose. "Come, my sons! We have a mission greater than ourselves. We shall impart the ways of the Lord to our children, weaving their hearts to yearn for Him. We will be vessels of truth amidst the valleys of deception, guiding our lineage toward the light." Yet, as the seasons turned and life flourished, the specter of temptation loomed on the horizon. Both fear and hope swirled within Noah, fueling his resolve. He knew that their very survival depended on the faithfulness to the covenant entrusted to them. His voice trembled as he spoke to his family. What will we choose? Life tethered to obedience, or the bondage of disobedience? The path before us will test our spirit. As dusk fell one evening, the stars emerged as silent witnesses, and Noah contemplated the vastness of God's design. O Lord, he cried out in fervent prayer, let our legacy be one of faithfulness, not a repeat of the folly that once destroyed the earth. Little did Noah know, as his heart burned with desire for righteousness, that days of reckoning and divine encounters loomed ahead, an encounter destined to reshape not only their lives but the very fabric of humanity itself, setting the stage for a new revelation amidst the tapestry of time yet to be woven. For as the dust settled upon the earth still fresh with new life, the threads of destiny began to intertwine an intricate design, a holy mystery, whispering of promises to unfold that would transcend the generations, beckoning the faithful to step into a story far greater than their own. As the dawn began to paint the skies anew, Noah awakened with a heart full of fervor and intent. He sensed a stirring within the earth, as if it too awaited the unfolding of a divine narrative. The mornings had become sacred routines, filled with prayers and offerings, sanctifying the work of their hands. His sons rose beside him, eager to partake in the mission before them, yet unease lingered in the corners of their hearts. Gather, my sons, Noah called, his voice steady like the mountains surrounding them. Let us venture forth today to survey our land, to chart the places where we shall dwell and cast our seeds. The Lord has ordained our mission, and our resolve must be firm. With a solemn unity, Shem, Ham, and Japheth joined their father, each embodying hope wrapped in purpose. As they walked beneath the sweeping canopies of trees, the vibrancy of creation hummed around them, echoing the truths spoken by the Creator. Their path led them to the banks of a river, its waters sparkling like precious jewels, and there they paused, breathing in the promise of new beginnings. Yet, even as the land bloomed, whispers of the old ways clung to their memories. Noah gathered his sons close, their eyes reflecting the light of the glimmering stream. Remember the covenant we received, he urged. We must teach the generations that we shall bear of his ways, that they may know him and walk in truth. As they resumed their journey, tasks awaited them: fields to till, trees to plant, and shelters to build. God's favor hovered over them like the gentle breeze on their shoulders, nudging them towards fruition. But in the heart of every man lies a struggle, a potential for greatness intertwined with a propensity for failure. Days turned to weeks. Life was full and rich. Noah's heart swelled with pride as he watched his sons find their strengths in tending to the earth. But as the sun set one evening and darkness fell, a shadow passed through his thoughts, a reminder of the fallen world beyond their haven. How easily can one's heart grow cold! How swiftly can the light of truth be muffled by the allure of familiarity! In the midst of these reverent ponderings, God summoned Noah once more. The heavens shimmered, and an awe-inspiring voice filled the night air. Noah, I desire your attention for a new task, an unveiling of the broader plan for creation. For the world you see and the generations to come are but a prelude to a greater symphony. Noah trembled as he listened, for the gravity of the moment weighed upon him like the heavy mist of dawn. What, O Lord, do you ask of me? My heart is but a humble vessel, unworthy of such revelations. He cried, spirit aflame with a mixture of fear and longing. Your lineage shall be a lamp unto the nations, declared the Lord. Through you shall truths be renewed, and the faithful called back to the light. Yet a temptation will arise, a treacherous path that beckons with the beauty of the earth. Your family must stand firm, clothed in valor and honor, lest the darkness encroach upon their hearts. As the stars twinkled above, Noah bowed before the weight of this edict, resolved to heed the words of the Almighty. He rose, his soul ignited with divine purpose, yet aware of the shadows lurking at the fringes of their hope. Father, he spoke, his voice resolute, we shall honor your command, sowing not only seeds of grain but seeds of faith. We will guard our hearts and be vigilant against the allure of temptation, ever seeking your face. Even as he voiced these promises, a chill crept through the air, and a mysterious cloud danced upon the horizon, whispering of impending change. Tension hung in the atmosphere, for the weight of God's plan had now shifted toward uncharted territories, pulling them into a narrative grander than their understanding. Thus began a new chapter in the tale of humanity, a tale not just of survival but of divine orchestration, waiting to reveal the depths of God's love and sovereign will. For as the sun graced the night with its dimming light, the threads of time began to weave once more in echoing promise of encounters yet to come that would redefine not just families, but nations, summoning a greater revelation of God's eternal purpose unfolding through the ages. And so it was that in the days that followed, Noah and his sons labored with diligence, their hearts burning with a sense of calling bestowed by the Almighty. From dawn until dusk, they toiled in the fertile fields, the sweet fragrance of earth mingling with the hope that grew in their hearts. As the days flitted by, each moment unfolded under the watchful eye of God. One evening, as the sun dipped into the horizon, casting an amber glow upon their labor, Shem approached his father. His brow furrowed with curiosity, he spoke gently, "Father, you have shared with us the weighty words of the Lord. Yet I feel there is more to know, a deeper understanding yet to be revealed. What do these temptations look like? How shall we recognize them before they ensnare us?" Noah, hearing the earnestness in his son's voice, looked upward to the heavens, where the first stars began to appear. "Shem, my son, the temptations may not wear the guise of wickedness. They often present themselves as comforts and pleasures, promising ease and a reprieve from toil. We must remain ever vigilant, for even the most subtle of distractions can lead us astray from the path He has set before us." Ham, his younger brother, interjected as the weight of the conversation grew heavy in your hearts. "But father, are we to turn from all the beauty that the Lord has created? Is it wrong to relish the gifts He bestows upon us?" "Ah, dear Ham," Noah replied with a warmth that cradled his son's spirit, "the earth is indeed filled with beauty, and to enjoy God's creation is a blessing. Yet we must guard our hearts not to grow complacent, lest we forget the source of all that is good. We must live as conduits of His will, reflecting His glory rather than allowing the gifts to become our idols." Amid their discourse, Noah felt the stirrings of the Spirit, and with it came a realization of the necessity for remembrance. "Let us build an altar upon this land," he commanded, "a monument to our covenant with God. In times of blessing or hardship, we must return here to seek His guidance and reflect on His promises." With sacred resolve, the family set to work, gathering stones and crafting an altar that would stand testament to their faith. Each stone bore a name, the names of ancestors who walked with the Creator, each a reminder that they were but a continuation of a divine story. As dusk enveloped the land and the scent of fresh earth lingered in the air, Noah raised his hands and prayed aloud, beseeching God's protection over their family and generations to come. "Lord, let this altar serve as a witness to your faithfulness. May we guide those who follow us on the paths of righteousness." In the midst of this holy moment, a profound stillness enveloped them. The air thickened with expectation, and soft whispers seemed to echo in the stillness, as if creation itself anticipated the unfolding of God's plan. "Father," Japheth said, his voice a mere thread, "what if we are tested? What if our resolve is shaken? We have seen how easily the hearts of men can sway." The flames from the newly kindled fire flickered, casting shadows upon their faces as Noah replied then, "My sons, we shall lean upon the strength of our God, the one who covenants with us. He shall not abandon us in our weaknesses, but will fortify our spirits if we remain steadfast. A call to faith is not without trials, but in them, we shall find growth and understanding." As the night drew nearer, stars pierced the fabric of darkness, luminous reminders of God's promises, and each sun fell into contemplative silence. Within the depths of the cosmos, the whispers of destiny stirred, for God was weaving a tapestry of futures, one thread at a time, and as Noah gazed upon the sky, a shiver ran down his spine, for he understood, the shadows of temptation were not just fleeting figures, but agents assigned to thwart the coming generations. A divine urgency gripped his heart, a realization that they were placed at the nexus of history, ready to embrace or challenge God's unfolding narrative, yet unbeknownst to him, in the hearts of men. Beyond their shelter, seeds of rebellion began to sprout, a dark foreboding of the very arrogance that had invited judgment upon the ancient world. Thus, the solemn journey had only just begun, for intertwined with their mission was a truth yet to be revealed, a divine plan intricately connected to ages past and ages yet to come, leading to an uncovering of God's eternal purposes in the lives of those who choose to walk in faith. In the days that followed, the sun, steadfast in its journey, rose and set upon the altar that stood as a symbol of Noah's devotion and resolve. With each dawning day, the family continued their labor, sowing seeds in the rich soil that God had provided, nurturing hopes for a harvest that would not only sustain their bodies but also strengthen their faith. As they worked, the voices of the land whispered ancient truths, and nature, rejoicing in their toil, bore witness to their commitment. One day, as the gentle winds sigh at twilight, Shem pondered aloud, "Father, behold the world around us. It is teeming with life. Do you think the Lord delights in our endeavors as we delight in His creations?" Noah paused, wiping the sweat from his brow. "Indeed, my son," he replied with warmth in his tone, "the Creator rejoices in His handiwork, and in those who honor Him with their lives. He has bestowed upon us the earth to cherish, and as we tend to it, we reveal His glory." Then, Ham, feeling the weight of the conversation, asked once more, "Yet, when trials loom on the horizon, how shall we remain in His grace? Will we falter when darkness encroaches upon our hearts?" "Fear not, Ham," Noah said earnestly, "for trials are but the furnace wherein our faith is refined. Just as gold is purified in fire, so too are our spirits nurtured through testing. Keep your eyes fixed upon the Lord, for He is a fortress in times of trouble, and His steadfast love shall never be shaken." As if to echo Noah's words, the skies began to darken, clouds billowed above them, prompting concern among the family. Suddenly, from the depths of the heavens, a voice like thunder resonated, "Noah! You are chosen, and a covenant shall be established anew. Gather your family and all living creatures, for the time of reckoning draws near." The earth quaked as Noah and his sons fell to their knees, gripped by reverence and awe. He understood then that they stood upon the precipice of divine destiny. "Lord," he cried out, "your servant listens. What is your will?" "Through you shall the seed of a new covenant be sown," the voice proclaimed, "for the hearts of man must be tested once more. Heed my words, for the floodgates of heaven shall be opened. You are to prepare." In that moment, divine clarity pierced through the tumult, filling Noah's heart with both fear and determination. "We shall prepare," he affirmed with unwavering conviction. "By your grace, we will remain steadfast, warning the people and building as you command." As his sons rose to their feet, a courage ignited within them, all uncertainty faded under the weight of their father's faith. "Let us gather the creatures, even as the world faces the testing of the Almighty," Japheth murmured, buoyed by the urgency of purpose. Night fell, cloaking the land in darkness, yet within their hearts a light burned bright. The altar, now a symbol of their resilience, stood firm as a beacon of hope amidst the encroaching storm. In the days that followed, Noah's family embarked on their sacred task, uniting the creatures of the land and air, feeling a profound sense of duty and divine favor. As more burdens descended upon the wicked of the earth, Noah's resolve shone brighter. And yet, even as their minds brimmed with fervor, doubt shadowed the world beyond their sanctuary. The hearts of men grew harder, resisting the warnings shared by Noah. Whispers of mockery floated upon the winds, though the man of God would not falter. It was during one of these moments of preparation that Noah discerned an ominous sign in the heavens, a great rift forming as though the very fabric of the firmament was splitting. He understood. With each day, God's sovereign plan unfurled, leading to a moment of both wrath and mercy. The cries of anguish from the hearts bound in rebellion echoed against the silent testimony of the covenant established at the altar. But what remained hidden from Noah's eyes was a deeper conspiracy, one that threatened to unleash far more than the waters of judgment, a revelation of his sovereign plan that pointed toward the restoration yet to come. Thus, the journey into the unknown intensified, as the flood of divine purpose rose ever closer, a harbinger of the salvation intertwined with judgment, beckoning all to seek refuge in the shelter of the Almighty. In the days that followed, the light of the Lord shone upon Noah and his family with unwavering clarity. As they labored, gathering the creatures and building the great ark, the air thrummed with the anticipation of divine purpose. Words spread across the land, murmurs and scorn mingling with every passing moment. Men laughed and mocked, blind to the impending judgment that loomed like thunderclouds gathering on the horizon. Yet Noah stood firm, fueled by the promise of his God, resolute against the tides of disbelief. The time had come when the Lord spoke once more, his voice intertwining with the winds. Noah, the appointed day has arrived. Call forth your family and all that remain, for I shall bring forth judgment to cleanse the earth of wickedness, yet through you, I will preserve the remnant. Open-heartedly, Noah gathered his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives, leading them into the ark as painted creatures shuffled in obedient pairs. The hallowed entrance became the threshold between despair and hope, the familiar and the divine. As the last beam was laid, the heavens trembled. A heavy stillness settled upon the land as Noah turned his gaze heavenward, beholding the firmness of God's word taking shape. The first drops of rain fell, gentle at first, yet quickly escalating to a torrent that battered against the ark. As the waters surged and breached the earth, Noah remembered the weight of his covenant, a promise delicately interwoven with mercy yet wrapped in judgment. Lord, he whispered amidst the storm, may this flood be a cleansing, and may your purpose be fulfilled. With the rise of the waters, fear gripped the hearts of humanity, but in the heart of the ark, a sanctuary blossomed with faith and prayer. Noah and his family huddled together, unified in their peace. Together they recalled the stories of the ancients, recounting how God had delivered and protected his people. Each prayer lifted echoed like a heartbeat of conviction, reminders of hope woven into each breath. Days turned into weeks, the din of rain diminishing but replacing it with unsettling silence. Time stitched its fabric around their lives as new rhythms emerged within the sturdy walls of their vessel. Noah's heart ached. Was there any remaining spark of faith among those lost to the storm? With every crashing wave, his spirit longed for the souls that had turned from grace, and he prayed that somehow divine mercy might yet find them. Then, one fateful day, Noah felt a shift, a trembling as the waters began to recede. His heart raced as he pressed against the side of the ark, peering out at the world getting steadily clearer. Our waiting has not been in vain, he said, breathless, to his family. The Lord has not forgotten us. As the door of the ark opened for the first time, the sweet air of redemption beckoned them outside. They stepped upon the cleansed earth, feeling the gentle tug of divine purpose whisper in their ears. Before them, a world reborn lay waiting. The sun pierced through the clouds, illuminating the fresh panorama of life, a promise fulfilled in seed and soil. Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth, the Lord's proclamation echoed once more, embedding itself into their purpose. They fell upon their knees, hearts humbled, prayers of thanksgiving spilling forth. The altar they had built, the very symbol of their covenant, shone in their hearts, bursting forth with hope as they began their new journey. With resolve, Noah turned to his family, his voice steady and infused with clarity. We shall tell our children and their children of the goodness of the Lord. We shall be stewards of this earth. Let us impart the stories that shape our legacy. His sons nodded resolutely, understanding the weight of the mantle placed upon them. Seasons changed, and from their labor sprang crops, fruits, and flocks. The earth brimmed with life, and their family thrived in the grace of God. But amid their joy, Noah remained watchful. The echoes of temptation whispered on the breeze, shadows from the past lurking around corners yet unseen. O Lord, Noah prayed, guide our hearts, may we remember your hand in all that we do. Let us be vigilant against the comforts of complacency. In his heart simmered a fervent desire to maintain faith, a resolution stitched within the fabric of his prayers. Years unfolded, and the family flourished, a tapestry of generations intertwined. Then one day, the Lord appeared once more, his presence radiant amidst the twilight. Noah, your faithfulness has borne fruit, he proclaimed, his voice a gentle thunder. I establish my covenant with you and your offspring forever. Never again shall the earth be destroyed by flood. I set my rainbow in the heavens as a sign. With reverence enveloping his soul, Noah gazed upon the sky, where the colors burst forth, vivid and alive. The rainbow stretched like a promise, a reminder of grace, mercy, and hope resonating through the ages. Thank you, O Lord, he murmured, tears of gratitude filling his eyes. We will walk in your ways and teach our children to revere your name. And as they nestled together beneath the expanse of heavens, surrounded by the bounty of life, Noah understood the weight of their calling. They were the remnant, part of God's sacred plan, a legacy to embody faith throughout the generations. His heart rejoiced as he realized every story told of their trials and triumphs would ripple through time, calling hearts unto Christ, and illuminating His truth. Thus, their journey had not merely survived the flood but bore witness to the transformative grace of a covenant-making God, woven into the very fabric of existence, waiting to draw all creation back to Himself. In this, the tale of Noah concluded, a testimony ingrained in the heart of humankind, beckoning all to reflect on the power of faith, the beauty of redemptive purpose, and the unfathomable depth of God's love. Beloved, may this story ignite a fire within you as you ponder the eternal truths of God's Word. You need to subscribe now to stay connected to God's revelations. This is the moment to help spread biblical truth. Please leave a like now and share this powerful testimony with at least 5 friends who are in need of God's promises. Comment below with your reflections on how this story has impacted your faith. Do not wait even one more second. The world needs to hear God's truth.